Hey everyone, and welcome to the HR Vision podcast. I'm your host, Ivo, and every week I'm going to have a conversation that matters about HR. This week I have Stephan Schoeman with me. Welcome, Stephan. How's it going?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Stephan is based in the UK, and he's an implementation consultant at FourVision with an extensive track record in HR technology. So this should be fun. Stephan, are you ready? Excited?
Yes, let's go.
Yeah? Okay. All right, let's start by just getting to know you. Give us a little bit of an introduction about yourself, what you've been doing in this area.
In this area.
Yeah.
So I'm originally from South Africa. I immigrated to the United Kingdom about 7 years ago. So based, as you said, in the UK at the moment. My career started on client side in human resources. So I was a human resource manager, then through career progression also moved into payroll. So I have an extensive experience in payroll as well. And then through my various positions got involved in implementation of HR and payroll systems, and that's where the consulting bug bit. So I worked on quite a few implementation partners in South Africa, mainly on payroll. And then when I moved to the United Kingdom, I got involved in the human resources software implementation space.
Okay.
So I have been implementing Dynamics HR now for 4.5 years.
Okay. And that HR background, it was always something that you were looking for, just came by chance? What happened there?
Yes, no, that was my career projection. So I studied a bachelor's degree with psychology and sociology as majors. And in South Africa, we've got quite a legislated labor environment. So I also studied labor law. Okay. So I was practicing as a labor consultant and in the labor law space. So.
Okay, and then your career naturally progressed to the HR technology part or the implementation part, or it was something that you always preferred instead of like HR generalist or something like that. How did that happen?
So through the various positions I held, I was heading up the HR department, and then got involved in implementing HR and payroll systems. So no, when I started out, the idea of technology was never on the horizon.
Yeah.
That was a bug that a bit later. I was fascinated with the system side of things rather than just the day-to-day operational side. So
okay, and why is that? Do you know? Can you identify like what is it in technology that gets you excited? Like fixing processes or fixing what is that?
I'm a very methodical person, and when you do a project implementation, the planning and the what's the best way to describe it? So the structure around projects, and yes, the satisfaction of giving a client a good solution to make their life easier is always a bonus.
Okay, I see. Yeah, let's get to that. You've been a consultant for some time now in HR technology. I wanted to ask you, like, what does it mean for you to be a consultant? What do you think are the must-haves, and what gets you excited about it?
Yeah, so I think if we take it from an angle, what makes a good consultant?
Yeah.
First of all, it's a communication. Obviously, that is key for any project or any good consultant, is to have good communication. And in that, I mean to know your subject matter. So to be an HR consultant, obviously you have to understand the HR environment. And I think that's probably where I have a distinct advantage, is having been an HR practitioner before I became a consultant. I understand the day-to-day working and the pinch points or the heartache that HR people normally suffer.
Yeah.
Because they are not IT proficient or IT minded people, if I can say it that way.
Yeah.
So it's a different way of communicating with human resources practitioners. It doesn't help you throw them or throw a lot of technical jargon or system language at that audience. They don't respond to that because they don't have a reference point when you start talking systems.
Yes.
So you have to understand their world and communicate to them in that. So yes, talking processes, understanding their day-to-day operations, how they actually function, and then bringing the technology solution to that. And in saying that, is also one of the things I find quite often is because this audience is not very system-oriented or tech, IT, let's say IT minded, they would normally come to a project wanting a better system, but quite often you find they just want to replicate what they had because they don't know what's new, or they don't know the questions to ask you. How can we improve the problems we had before? So in that, again, a good consultant will understand and start talking processes and understand what is it that you actually want to achieve. Let's not design your process to fit a system. You need to have the best practice processes in place, and then we get a technology system that can facilitate those processes.
Yeah, and I think like that is indeed one of the, and a lot of consultants tell us that adapting your communication to the audience that you're speaking to, right? And you alluded to a point where was actually my next question. I know that one of the most common challenges for customers implementing new tools is actually, it has to do with legacy systems, right? They are to use in a certain way with a certain tool, and they expect a new tool to work the same way because they are not IT minded, like you said. So why do you think that is, first of all, and how do you go about it to overcome that challenge?
Like I said, so quite often you find that the tool that they currently use is all they know. So they aren't in the space of working on across multiple systems or having experience with different HR solutions. So when they come to a project, the way that they've been doing things is the only way they know how to. So introducing a new system, it's, again, you approach it from, let's step away from the buttons you click or the screens you look at. Let's look at your process. So when you look at recruitment, when you look at employee life cycle, so the cradle to grave process, let's break that down in what do you actually do? Who are the teams that interact with each other? What is the communication that flows between the teams? And how do we best get, or what is the best result that you want at the end? Once they understand that process better, and that also gets them thinking of what are we actually doing? Are we doing things just because our existing system forces us to first do step one, then step two? Would we rather have step two, then step one, because that would make our life easier? They, as HR people, normally don't think about that because they just do things because that is how they taught to do, because the system says click one, then click two. So when you take them out of that, forget your existing system, let's talk about your process, that gets the cogs of thinking turning. So I think that's, as a consultant or a good consultant, it's to have that ability to communicate and get the stakeholders to think that way. Let's talk process. Let's design your process or better document your process and refine your process. And then we bring a system to that process to see how can the technology facilitate that.
Okay, interesting. That sounds like a good approach. Did you find throughout your career that this approach indeed has better results than just show the product, you click here, click there, and then you're done? Or do you also feel like not only you changed that approach, but also the customers were more, I don't know how to say it, like they just want that approach to be done than what they used to see, like different screens, images, and you click here, click there.
Well, obviously, when you introduce a new system, you have to demonstrate the capabilities of the system. But then in your like I said, in your requirements workshops, where you actually do go into a deeper dive into what is it that the client actually wants out of the system. Again, it's through experience that I learned you don't just focus on the system to say, let's go from screen 1 to screen 2 to screen 3. Again, you do at a high level. This system that you're looking at implementing is capable of. And again, it's not getting sidetracked in a project by showing them too much, because most clients, again, have a scope of what they want. So a project comes with a scope. So if you jump in and show the full system and spend days demonstrating all this functionality, again, the client can easily get sidetracked at, oh, yes, I like that, I like that, I like that. But that was not the aim of the project in the beginning. So you need to be mindful of that as well. So yeah, I've definitely found in approaching projects, it's you demonstrate the capabilities of the system at a high level. And again, it's in more introducing the new technologies terminology. So obviously, when you start implementing a new system, you're going to start using terms and jargon, if I can use it that way, that refers to the new system. So it's what my approach is normally, just to get the audience familiar with the new language that I'm going to use for the system, rather than restrict them to, let's look at building your system for screen to screen to screen. No. So
okay, I get it. All right. That is very interesting and very insightful. Is there any other challenges that you find common, with implementations, besides this difficulty to adapt to new systems that you find interesting in your career with your experience?
Yeah, probably if you, as I said, my experience crosses from HR into payroll as well. So I've been involved in quite a few payroll integrations.
Okay.
And implementations. And what we find quite often on the payroll side is the current system might push a lot of data to the payroll system as well. And when we, as FourVision, because we've got quite a lot of experience in the world of payroll implementations or integrations as well, what we find challenging is when we normally start asking clients, then why are you sending 16 fields of data to a payroll system when you actually only need 4 or 5? And those challenges, having clients then normally push back because they don't understand. No, but we needed it before. So we integrated that data before. Why are you not wanting to integrate all this data? So and on the HR side as well, we often find the legacy systems have probably unique fields, or they added, customized their previous system to accommodate certain things. And within that system restraint, they couldn't get the perfect solution. So, but because they've been using their legacy systems normally for a while, they expect the new system to replicate those things. So it's always that challenge, and to know when and how to ask those good questions. That always why. Give me a business justification why this needs to be this way. And normally, as I said, as a good consultant, you should know your area. So we know what is required data in the HR world and in the payroll world, and especially across different legislations. There's a lot of restriction now. If we talk GDPR, or in Africa, there's POPIA. In the US, there's Sarbanes-Oxley. So there's a lot of restriction on privacy of data. And we as specialists in our field understand or on familiar with those restrictions. So we will always challenge on a new implementation, to the best of the client's uh, in the best interest of the client. Is when I challenge you, why are you taking that? It's not because I'm too lazy to do what needs to be, but it's normally we, with our experience, know you could potentially have challenges in the future if you take this whole bunch of data and push it to another system. And if it's not required, you are making life more difficult than it needs to be. So, but clients are quite often hesitant to let go because they used to, no, but I had it before, I want it again. So that's always the give and take and the political, as like I said, the political game you need to play. But as a good consultant, again, you need to you don't just ask, but why? Because I think it's stupid. That's not how you approach a client. You need to explain to them the intricacies of what they are trying to do and where it could negatively impact them, and normally then they understand and appreciate that. I find that if you explain to clients properly what the negative implications could be, they are very receptive and appreciative of that. So they understand that and get trust in you. You do have their best interest at heart, and ultimately that is what we're trying to achieve: to give them the best solution, most secure, most robust, and obviously scalable. So that you can grow with your system, so that you don't repeat this painful process that you are going through at the moment of implementing a new system in 2 years' time, because this new system that we implemented, again, falls short of giving you the best solution. So you want to throw it out the window again.
That is really insightful. Okay, very cool. It's all about communication, giving the right context, informing the customer, just always with their best interest in mind, right?
Yep.
Let's say the listeners just for an example, if you can give us like kind of a step-by-step process, if you can. Let's say someone listening in, they never experienced an implementation of a new system like Dynamics 365 HR. How do we go about that? Do you set a meeting? Do you try to find out where are the stakeholders? What is the process of that implementation? If you can give us like an overview.
Yeah, so with most projects, I'm always hesitant to say all. With most projects, it normally starts with a pre-sale. So a client would go to market with a set of requirements. There's normally a set of requirements that they normally lift from their existing system. So they will approach vendors with their requirements and look at new possible systems. There was normally a bidding process, or from sales side, an investigation at a high level to see is our system fit for purpose for this client. And then if everything was followed through, by the time it reaches the consulting side, the project would normally have been agreed. There would have been a scope agreed. So by the time the implementation consultants get on board, the project is normally, it's a project kickoff.
Yes.
So we would then be introduced to the client, understanding who the stakeholders are, what the scope is, what they're trying to achieve, with a project timeline. And then we as consultants then go into the discovery or analysis phase. We will then have workshops with the different areas. And again, this is a very generic explanation, so it would depend on the different modules within the HR application that they're interested in, the different processes. So, but at a very generic level, yes, you would have discovery workshops for every stream or area within the HR space that they're interested in looking at implementing your technology. During those workshops, you, like I said, would introduce the new product, the capabilities, but then go into the deeper level of discovery of their processes, how they work, what they're trying to achieve, what their policies are, what their different contracts are. I'm just thinking like leave and absence. You would discover the different leave plans they have and how many countries they operate. So that could be a 1-day workshop. It could be a week's discovery, depending on the size and intricacy of the various clients.
Okay.
You normally translate then those discoveries or requirements into what we call a solution design. So we will then take that away as a consultant and apply those requirements to the system and give the client back a document explaining how we will meet your requirements through our technology or our software.
Okay.
That then gets approved by the client, and then we start configuring the system based on those solution documents.
Okay.
Then after you've configured the system, FourVision has an approach in our projects to have a playback session. I would then demonstrate back to the client how we have met these requirements within the system. Also, it's at a high level, it's almost, we call them show and tells. So how would you actually use the system now to do or execute the processes that you have given me or that you want the system to do at a high level? The client will then go into a testing phase. So there's normally user acceptance testing, where the client will then test the system to see, does it actually do what they want it to do? Does it meet the requirements? Are there any gaps that they might not have told us that this is a process that they need, or that we might have missed even through the solution design document? There might have been miscommunication or misinterpretation of a specific rule or a specific policy. So that is normally hashed out during the user acceptance testing phase. There could be a single cycle of user acceptance testing. There could be multiple, again, depending on the size of the project. But at the end of the user acceptance, you normally have then, during user acceptance, you also resolve these issues. So if something comes up where configuration was missed or something should be changed, you fix that during the UAT and have the client retest it to validate it. So normally, as part of your UAT exit criteria, you have a list of tick boxes to say, yes, it meets, yes, it meets. So you have a go, no go stage gate after UAT to say, yes, we accept the system, it meets our requirements. Then you will go into a go live preparation or go live readiness, where you then look at how do you get your legacy system data into your production system ready to transition and start using the new system as your new solution.
Yeah.
And having said that, so there's a layer of functional consulting that is normally the discovery, the configuration, and assistance during testing. But again, there's multiple added layers to this project. Like I said, there's environment, so there's environment management. There could be solution architects where you have multiple systems maybe integrating. For example, I mentioned the payroll. So if there's a payroll integration, you would have solution architects also on the project where they need to ensure that the systems communicate with each other properly. So all of that forms part of the bigger project lifecycle.
Of course.
So
you can always add complexity, I guess. But I think for people to understand, like, what is all the steps, I think you gave a great overview. I really think so. Very cool, Stephan. Thank you so much. That's mostly what I had for you today. Is there anything that you would like to say as an HR consultant for HR people out there that are still using those old beautiful Excel files?
Excel is nice.
It is.
It is nice, but as you could see, my passion lies in having a decent solution. And there are decent solutions to make life easier. So, and it may be daunting, like I said, for normally HR people are not systems people. So when they hear new systems, it sounds daunting, but in finding a good partner, an implementation partner that have the skills to guide you through this process, there's definitely reward having a good system. Like, I can definitely promote Dynamics 365. I've been working with it for quite a few years, and we've had from small organizations with 50 employees to large organizations with over 20,000 employees. All shapes and sizes can find value in a system like Dynamics HR.
Perfect. I wouldn't say it better. All right, Stephan, thank you so much for being here with us today. I hope you enjoyed it.
It was a pleasure.
All right.
I hope I could add a little bit of value.
I think you did. I think you did. Thank you so much. Have a good week, and guys, we'll see you next time.